From Cypher switching sides and joining Dom's family to Dante's thirst for revenge, here's everything you need to know about Fast 10, starting with the much anticipated release date.
What's going on in that head of yours?
Something little piece of it. Is it dead?
Fast 9, the previous entry in the iconic franchise, had one of the best theatrical releases the world has ever seen. And that's saying something after the entire pandemic debacle, considering theatrical releases haven't been doing the best. So it's fair to say that Fast 9 was a spectacle to watch on the big screen. Obviously, a lot of people have the same kind of expectations from the next film in the franchise. Fast 10 was originally supposed to come out much sooner, all the way back in 2021, but because of the previous film hitting a bunch of delays that ultimately affected its release, the date was pushed farther ahead, into 2023. Apparently, the upcoming film has been split into two different parts. So while the question of Fast 11 might still be up in the air, you can rest assured that it's not the last time you're going to be seeing your favorite characters in the wildest situations. Fast 10 has been confirmed for release on May 19th, 2023. That is, unless it's hit by a bunch of delays for whatever reason, but hopefully the team has probably learned their lesson and are ready to work through the challenges. While that's great news for all of you out there, I have even better news about the cast. Obviously, it wouldn't be a Fast and Furious film without some of the franchise's most iconic characters. Of course, we've got Vin Diesel as Dominic Toretto, Michelle Rodriguez as Letty Ortiz, and Brie Larson as Tess, along with Jason Momoa as Dante, Jordana Brewster as Mia Toretto, and even John Cena as Jacob Toretto. But that's far from all of it. The film has a huge cast. There's also Tyrese Gibson as Roman Pierce, Sung Kang as Han Solo, and Chris Ludacris Bridges as Tej Parker. And I can't forget about Natalie Emanuel as Ramsey, Charlize Theron as Cypher, and Scott Eastwood as Little Nobody. On the other hand, Alan Ritchson is taking on the role of Ames. Helen Mirren is playing Magdalene Queenie Shaw, along with Jason Statham as Deckard Shaw, Lucas Black as Sean Boswell, and Rita Moreno as Abuelita Toretto, even joined by Anna Sawai as Elle. Just when you start thinking that I've talked about everyone in the film, that's far from it. In fact, there are even more new additions this time. The biggest of the bunch have to be Don Omar and Tego Calderon, who would of course be playing their iconic characters, Rico Santos and Tego Leon. Daniela Melchor from the Suicide Squad will be playing a racer from Brazil, who apparently has some business with Dom. Kurt Russell could also join in, considering his character's end in the previous film, along with confirmation that Cardi B is a part of it. And finally, Dwayne Johnson's return isn't confirmed yet, but Vin Diesel seems hellbent on convincing him to come back.
Illegal streetcar races that were very much like that. And we actually ran from helicopters at that time. So
with a cast like this, you can definitely expect the plot to crank up the heat. This time, you're going to be seeing the son of one of the best villains that the franchise has to offer. Of course, I'm talking about Kingpin, Herman Reyes' son, Dante, who saw the gang put an end to his father in front of his eyes. Having spent over a decade figuring out just how he can get back at them, he intends to make sure that all of them, but especially Dom, lose all that they love forever. Because of that, the entire gang is going to be split all over the world, to some cities that are truly iconic to the franchise itself. So it's safe to say that they're going to be facing up against more older enemies, along with making new friends along the way. But at the end of the day, Dante's ultimate target is Dom's son, and he will stop at nothing to get revenge. At least, that's what the synopsis for the film says. But there is a chance that it could be a passing of torch situation as well, after all of that insanity has been dealt with, of course. But you could get to see them pass the mantle onto their kids. Sounds pretty cool, right? But I wouldn't expect anything else, considering how brilliant the people behind the film are. The film was first directed by the very same person who's behind some of the most iconic films in the franchise, Justin Lin, who was not only behind the previous entry in the franchise, but also Fast and Furious Furious 6, along with Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift. Though because of some disagreements that the director had with Vin Diesel, in which the two didn't agree on the future of the film, he ended up exiting the film, causing a huge delay. Replacing him is none other than Louis Leterrier, the very same person behind legendary films such as Now You See Me, even directing both The Transporter and The Transporter 2. But that's not all. He even worked on The Incredible Hulk. He even talked about the film, saying that this time there are going to be a lot of casualties. It's a race to the finish, and it's going to be the most intense entry in the franchise. The director even talked about how it's bigger than anything the franchise has done before, with more action, scope, and a lot of emotional moments. Moments that would leave audiences in tears. Though he did add that he didn't want to oversell it, but it is what it is.
Afraid of anything, but I am afraid of losing someone I love.
Along with that, London and Rome have been confirmed as locations in the film, and filming for it started all the way back in April of 2022. There's no doubt that it's building up to be a big hit. But I do have one question. Is Fast 10 really going to be the last film in the franchise? First things first, the 10th part has been split into 2 different films. So, no, this isn't the last time you're going to be seeing your favorite characters. But things might change after both of those are out. While the main entries into the franchise might be coming to an end, this might lead to a completely different take on the franchise itself. You could very well see characters like Dom's kid and his gang take on similar missions. Plus, there's always a chance of more prequels or spin-offs coming around as well, especially since Hobbs and Shaw was such a huge success. There's no reason for them to not go down that road. In fact, Diesel has an idea back from 2009 that might even get adapted sometime soon, though he refrained from giving a lot of information about it. But one rumor has all the fans going a little crazy. Could Cypher really join the family? Arguably one of the biggest theories that fans have about the upcoming film. In the 8th entry, you get to find out that she's been pulling the strings all along, but the franchise has a history of previous villains being a part of the family, so it wouldn't be completely out of the question. The biggest question is how it could possibly happen. Fans seem to think that she's going to start off by helping out the big bad in the upcoming film, along with having a huge role in both of the final films. But upon realizing just how messed up Dante is, and how badly he just wants revenge, since there's nothing to gain for her on that end, she could possibly end up switching sides.
There was a energy about that moment. To see all of these racers, to see all of these authentic and original cars there.
Ultimately helping your heroes out in the biggest battle of their lives. That's been a look into everything there is to know about Fast 10 so far.